GM, everybody, welcome to Money Monday. Glad you are all here. GM. Awesome. Good morning. Welcome, GM. Welcome to the Money Monday. Glad you're all here. It is time to make a difference. We sure are excited about what we got cooking this week. Awesome. Well, welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. Let's get to work. Okay, so it is Monday, April 14th. And we just had a super Saturday. We had a couple workshops over the weekend. Great stuff happened. And yeah, it just keeps getting better. We got our Invest Edge on tonight. I'm going to switch over to the whiteboard in a minute so we could talk about money making activities. That's the name of the game. All right, so welcome. One other thing I want to put out there, I'll make a post about it a little bit later today, but I'm going to be doing a workshop with Cosimo, one of our instructors, on how to learn faster, retain more, speed read, memorize, get more out of your classes. We're going to be doing a workshop this Wednesday called Learning Blocks. And not just what to learn, but how to learn. In fact, there's a way our brains like to learn. And if you're interested in learning about that, how it works and everything, just let me know. Or when you see the Facebook post come through, then just register for that. That'll be this Wednesday. I think it's 4 or 5 Eastern or Mountain Time. Anyway, details to come. But I'm looking forward to that this week. So GM, everybody, welcome. This thing rolling here. Okay. All right. Also want to give a big congrats to Mitch Nelson. He is #1 this week. Let's move this around. Oh, all kinds of windows. There we go. Right. Look at that. Mitch Nelson in the #1 position. Woohoo! So congrats to him. And then we got Richard in #2. We got David and Denisha in #3. Congrats to you as well. Then we got Dennis Bowers, Nate Lambert's #4. Becky and Nate. Then we got Dennis in the #5 position. Congrats. And we got Samuel. He has been in the top 10 several times this month. So congrats to him as well. Got Mary and Seta in the #7 position. And then we got the Manville Investment Team, #8 out of Harriman, Utah. And of course, we got Brian and Sam Woodward, #9. Well done. And Spencer, #10. So, guys, keep up the great work. West Coast Renatus team is crushing it, dominating the leaderboard. So well done, guys and gals. We're doing it in a big way. I know a few of you have been in the top 15, top 20, but we only recognize the top 10 on this little turntable here. So anyway, a lot of you guys are out there doing some great stuff. Keep it up. Don't get distracted with thinking that just because you got on the board once, that's enough. You got dreams to build. You got missions to accomplish. You got visions to make a reality. So stay focused. Enfocarse. Stay focused. Okay, so we're going to switch over to the whiteboard now. And let's talk about money making activities. All right, so whiteboard should pop up here. Let's see what we got. GM. Can we get Cosimo to be able to sell individual without essentials at some point? Not sure why, but I think we need to release the beast. That's right, man. I have that same request. So do me a favor, Eric, and shoot an email over to customer service and just say, hey, we got some people who are wanting to buy this. How do I sell it to them? Sweet. All right, whiteboard time. All right, GM everybody. Some new folks popping in here. GM. GM. Some of you don't know, but GM is a habit of success. GM, good morning. Every day you get up and you say GM to someone in your team, into either the Facebook groups, the ISN chats, someone on your accountability partner group chats, whatever threads you're in, you say GM, and that resets your day. That gets you focused. It takes 20 seconds. That's it. But we know that the people who are regularly saying GM, they're showing up every day. These are the people who are building the habits. Sometimes we'll see people do it so regularly, then they start to make a lot of money. They're doing deals, they're making sales, and then we don't see their GMs for a while. And then we can tell what's going to happen. They're going to fall off. They're going to get distracted, and they're going to get it into their big head. They know everything. They've solved all the world's problems, and they're going to skip the basics, doing the push-ups, doing the journal entries, saying GM, and they got to come back to that. So every day, say GM in your groups, in your chats, to your accountability partners. Keep that good habit. GM. Okay, money-making activities. Who is into MMA? MMA. Not everyone, I get it. Not everyone's into mixed martial arts. That's cool. But
Lock is
MMA for us is money making activities. Money making activities. So what are we spending our time on a daily basis in order to make the money? Every day working through this. So if I were to give you a 1 month plan, a 30-day MMA guide, what we would be doing is we would start with the 4 principles here. Number 1 is find the people. I'm going to 2 networking events today. They're both in Nashville. I got to drive 100 minutes to get there. My point is that some of you have workshops that are 30, 40 minutes away from you, and you're complaining. You need to knock it off. You have a car, so go. I mean, if it was riding the bus, that'd be one thing. But even then, I know some people who ride the bus 2 hours just to get to a networking event. It's a temporary thing. They understand that. But my point is find the people. Find the people. They're everywhere. And then just as a reminder, 19 out of 20 people, by the time they hit 65 years old, are going to be broke or dependent. And that's sad. That shouldn't be happening in this country. It shouldn't be, I mean, if half were, okay, 10 out of 20, all right, you'd say those 10 out of 20 missed the memo. But 19 out of 20, there's a system flaw, there's a design flaw, there's something working against people, and we need to get that fixed. So, broke or dependent on jobs, family, friends, church, government. So when you're out there in the world and you're talking to people and you understand 19 out of 20 are gonna need your help. Isn't that great news? I mean, in a way, because we have something to help them with. So 19 out of 20 people need what you have. That's 95%, FYI. 95% chance that this person you talk to today is going to need real estate in their life. Find the people. Number 2 is tell the story. Okay? And the way to remember this here is that facts tell, stories sell. Facts tell, stories sell. When you say real estate is good, real estate helps, real estate creates millionaires, real estate is the way. Cool, but those are all facts. People want stories. Real estate's the way, and I'll tell you, my friend Michelle just flipped a property and made a $200,000 profit for working a few months over the summer flipping a piece of property.
Michael,
Quick story.
that was during COVID.
How long did the deal take from the time you bought it to the time you got paid?
It was like 4 months.
4 freaking months, guys. In 4 months, one of my friends made a $200,000 profit on a simple fix and flip single family residential. Would you like to hear the story? Would you like to hear how they did it? So end with a question, which takes you to step 3, which is build for events. Build for events. I used to say BFE, and then someone would say Egypt. No, build for events. Now we have all kinds of events. We got cash flows. We got house tours. We got epics. We got Super Saturdays, intensives, workshops. We have accelerators. We got even the Invest Edge that Snyder does is something you can put your guests on. So boom, 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 boom. We got plenty of events to build for. Some people will say, well, which event should I build for, Michael? I just found somebody. I told them the story about what we do, who they could meet, what the possibilities are, some exciting stuff. I told them the story. But now, what event do I build for? Well, in my mind, and what's been the most successful for me is the next one, whatever that is. I know we got monthly workshops and we got quarterly things. Great. But we also have some intra-week stuff that is just happening, within 48 hours of you talking to the person. There's something to build for. So using the Helios calendar, using the ISN calendar, there should be plenty of overlap between those two places that you will find plenty of events to build for to get your guests to attend. And then continuous follow-up. It used to just be follow-up was the last step. I added the word continuous. Okay, I was reminded last night. I had a bunch of people attend some events while I was in Utah, and I followed up with them one time. But the key here is a continuous follow-up, making sure that they're clear what they're saying yes to, what they're saying no to, what they're missing out on, why they need to hurry, why they need to attend. And one of the easiest things to get a one-on-one, right? A follow-up, another way of saying is a one-on-one or a strategy session. A strategy session where we can show people and show them how they can get the program for little to nothing out of pocket on a monthly basis. That's something I tell people to earn the one-on-one. I mean, it's kind of a story about why they should come to a one-on-one with me. In the one-on-one, we're going to do our best, and chances are we'll be able to find a way for you to get started. Because everyone wants to get started. They just don't know how to pay for it, or sometimes they don't want to pay for it, which that's their own scarcity mindset that we can help them address. But we're going to find a way to get started for little to nothing out of pocket. Okay? So let's get together. Let's get together. Usually we say on Friday because on Thursday night's the big night, and that's when we're meeting everybody. So we say, okay, let's get together Friday morning, Friday afternoon, and I'll be able to help you find a way to get started for little to nothing out of pocket. Would that interest you? Remember last week we were talking about ending things with questions. For the majority of you, that's going to be one of the biggest needle movers in your conversations is ending with a question. You just make a blanket statement out there. People go, cool story, bro. But if you want to control the conversation and direct their path, use questions. Questions control conversations. Questions control conversations. So you stagnate in the question or in the conversation at one point. You go, oh, neither of us are talking. What do I do? Don't pull up another fact. Nobody cares. Facts tell. But what we need is a story ending with a question. Did you know? A great question. Did you know your retirement account can buy real estate and all your profits can become tax free? Would you like to know how that works? When would now be a good time to get started on that? Questions, questions, questions. Preguntas. Questions control conversations. Get better at asking questions. You will make more money. When I watch Bill raise capital and he's talking to some people who are like, well, maybe I'll put it into bonds. Maybe I'll put it into stocks. Maybe I'll put it in with your real estate deal. And the way he's asking the questions, it gets the people to understand, why on earth would you ever put your money over there when you can grow it, double-digit rate of return, insured, collateralized, safe, secure, reliable, long-term safety? It's real estate. Okay, so the money-making activities are find the people, tell the story, build for events, and continuous follow-up. IBM has one of the largest, and for a long time, maybe not right now, but for a long time, they had one of the largest global sales teams. Okay. And they were selling, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 technology packages, hardware and tech packages. And what they found was out of their thousands of global salespeople is that about 95% of sales were made by 5% of salespeople. 95% of all the money was made by 5% of the guys and gals around the world selling their thing. 95%. Think about that. If they made $10 million, 9,500,000 went to 5 people if there were 100 on the team. And that means that 95% of the people made 5% of the money. That is crazy. But that's what happens. So they started investigating more. Why? And if you are familiar with the Pareto principle and the 80-20 rule, the 95-5 is just one more iteration of the 80-20, because when you take the other 20% that's making the 80 and you do that 80-20 again, you'll find out that it's 95-5 over the whole thing. Isn't that interesting? So 80-20 is great. You do 80-20 on the remaining 20, you'll end up with 95-5. So what they started finding was that these 5%, these folks right here, they did something called AFTO more than anybody else. What does AFTO mean? AFTO means ask for the order. Ask for the order. So the problem wasn't that they were having a lack of leads. The problem wasn't that there was a lack of pitches and offers made. The lack and where they made up the difference was in asking for the order, as simple as, would you like to buy? When would you like to get started? What name should I put on the order form? and just asking for the order. And the average time that number of times they had to ask was 7 times they had to ask for the order. Whereas these 95ers over here, what we call the brokies, the normies, they got a good job, they got a great company, there's a great commission plan. Why are they not bringing in the dough? It's because they were only asking once, or not even. Some of them would be so worried about rejection or failure or some story around that they wouldn't even ask once, or only once. Okay, so you're going to stay in that broke world. Not us. It's the same thing with real estate too, right? I had a real estate conversation. Someone across the street wants to sell their property. In the 30 minutes or so that we were there walking around the property, I asked for the order on the number I wanted 4 times in 30 minutes. If I had asked once, it would have been over because, of course, they rejected it. She wanted 100 and something crazy thousand. I wanted to pay 40. So if I'd have just left it right there, asking one time, then what? I'm only going to get 5% of my opportunities. So I kept asking, well, what about this? What about this? How about we structure it this way? Okay, well, clean up that trash, leave this building, do this, do that. What about? And I kept asking, ask for the order, ask for what you want, get them to say yes to your pitch. So we ended on email me your ideas. I'm going to give them an ABC offer so they can pick from a few choices. And we'll see how it goes. And remember, they are the ones with the problem. Okay? Talking about how 19 out of 20 people are going to be broke or dependent by the time they hit 65. It's their problem. People with real estate, it's their problem. Don't take on their problem unless you're going to make a profit. Every once in a while, do some charity work. I get it. Charity's nice, abundance, give back. But don't give back in your real estate deals at a loss. No, go make some money and then give that money to charity. So we're going to give, but in order to give, you got to do some taking. And it's from these 4 principles. When you're out there finding the people telling the story, built for events, and following up, you're going to keep in mind these 4 things. Renatus is the best income opportunity in the country. And you got to tell yourself why. Come up with 3, 4, 5 reasons why. I'll tell you one right now. One reason why Renatus is the best income opportunity in the country is because we can sell the program and make money. We can use the program and make money. This program makes people money. So I'd like you to come up with, 3 or 4 reasons for yourself why. It's a debt-free company, best of state, 20,000 happy customers. Real estate's tried and true. Real estate makes the most millionaires in this country. Plenty of reasons why. Number 2, everyone needs Renatus. By the way, these are called the Renatus 4 core beliefs. Okay, these are things that you're just exuding with your energy, with your thoughts, with your vibes whenever you meet somebody. So like these events that I'm going to go to today, they may have something great going on. I may meet someone that's got 50 rentals, 100 rentals. They may be millionaires. Fantastic. In my mind, I still know everybody needs Renatus. I would love to have more millionaires on my team. That's great. I'm not going to say because you're a millionaire, you don't need Renatus. Don't do that. Psych yourself out. Don't you need people who, when they hear that it's 25, 26 grand to join, They don't blink. They don't hesitate. Okay, so stop talking to broke people about Renatus. Now, I get it. There's plenty of broke people. They all need Renatus. Some of them are ambitious. They got good credit, so they'll go find the money. They have networks. They got connections. They can find the money. Great. But only talking to broke people is a disaster. So everybody needs Renatus. Now, every once in a while, I gotta clarify something with people. Yes, everyone needs Renatus. But Renatus is a neat club of quality individuals who are striving in a big way to make their future fantastic. So just because someone needs Renatus, if they're not striving to make their life fantastic, the way they are being, who they are showing up in the world the way they are, they might not deserve Renatus. And that's a big difference. You might need it, but if you're a jerk, you don't deserve it. Is that fair? Can I say that? Is it no jerk club? Everybody needs Renatus, but not everybody deserves Renatus. So be sure that the people that you're recruiting are honest and ethical, and that they got an abundance mindset. They have an attitude of responsibility, not victimhood. So be exclusive. Not everyone deserves Renatus. Right? This is a privilege. It's an honor. But still, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt when I meet them. They're going to love this program. They're going to love me. They're going to love Mitch. They're going to love Richard and Scott and all the people we introduce them to. They're going to love Maylee and Nancy and Yaz and Umair. Everybody they get to meet, they're going to love them. So I'm definitely all about introducing them. We just got to make sure that they're quality people. Okay? OQP, only quality people. Number 3, we are doing them a favor. And number 4, it's their loss. It's their loss if they say no. Now, what's interesting is this same attitude can be taken on your real estate business. The 4 core beliefs about your real estate business, because you're being taught through the program how to build a real estate solutions business. Right? There are problems out there. We provide the solutions for a profit. Sometimes we get paid. Sometimes we get equity. Sometimes we get houses. Sometimes we get interest. Whatever it is, there's a problem. We're solving it. And we're all about solutions. So if you were talking to like one of the things when I'm talking to this homeowner the other day was, look, I am your best opportunity to talk to right now. You need me. I'm doing you a favor, and it's your loss if you say no. That was my approach. Right? I'm the best opportunity because I'm going to get you the most money. We don't have to deal with realtors. You don't have to have a bunch of prospective buyers trampling through your property, trying to schedule stuff. You got to leave. It's bad timing, blah, blah, blah. Skip all of that. I'm the best. Okay? And you need me because no one's going to come through and offer you the money the way I'm offering it to you. You're going to get cash now. You're going to get some interest. You're going to get way more money than if you got to try to go with a realtor or another investor. So you need me. And I'm doing you a favor, right? Because it's your problem. It's not my problem. This is your property. This is your mess. You're the one that's whatever. Delinquent, divorce, disaster, disability, death. Something is happening. That's your problem. I'm not asking you. I'm not wishing you had a problem, but it is your problem. But I'm doing you a favor by making the offer this way, by asking a lot of questions. Okay, I didn't just come out and say 40 grand. I listened. What are the problems? When are they moving? Where are they moving to? How much are they buying the new land for? Where are they going to work while they do it? What's their schedule like? I had a lot of questions so that when I made my offer, it fit their problem. And then I had this attitude of It's your loss if you say no. Okay, if you say no to my offer, good luck. You'll probably sell your property in the fall after you pay a bunch of realtors and you deal with 100 appointments and this and that, and you're going to end up taking the same offer I'm offering you now, but through a bunch of headaches and time wasted. So it's your loss if you say no. So what's really neat about the 4 core beliefs of Renatus is that they're going to translate and transfer to the 4 core beliefs about your real estate business. The thing is, in the marketing, very low risk. In the real estate, we got risk. There's always a balance of risk and reward. In the marketing, very low risk with a very high reward, right? A $12,000 check, making as much as you want. You enroll 10 people this week, you get 120 grand this week. It's up to you. Very low risk, right? You're going to risk a little bit of ego. You're going to risk a little bit of time. Maybe if you spend some money, like going to networking events or whatever, a little bit of gas money, whatever. The risk is so low. Real estate, however, you could lose your shorts. You could go bankrupt. You could go destitute. You could go well past zero by screwing some stuff up. It's risky. That's why we have the classes, the challenges, the study groups, the workbooks, the audio material. Just absorb yourself in real estate, thinking like an investor, thinking long term, lowering your risk by increasing your information. But then, of course, the reward is gigantic, so we're after it. We're going for it. But the beautiful thing is that the skills are the same for real estate and for marketing. So that's why Bob Snyder is a genius. Is he's developed a marketing plan that will teach you the skills while at the same time lowering your risk. That's why we want you to be a marketer in a big way, is so that you can develop these same skills with a higher chance of making money without taking so much risk. Okay, I remember one time Mitch Nelson and I took on a risk in marketing, but he had a lot of skills around it. But what we decided to do was a mailer campaign, sending out tens of thousands of mailers, postcards, tickets in the mail. We rented a big workshop space. We flew in some instructors. We bought everybody lunch. The whole thing cost us about $20,000. That's a lot of risk. There's a lot of management, a lot of lead up. We did a boatload of follow ups afterwards. It took a lot of time. Now we made about $45,000 from that event. So we doubled our money, but we took on a lot of risk. And I would have only done that with one person, and that was Mitch Nelson, because he had a lot of experience in mailers. Otherwise, I never would have done it because the risk would have been too high. But because of who I was working with, it lowered our risk. Chance for a reward went up, so we went after it. But that was about the riskiest thing that we did in real estate or in marketing, and I don't want to do it again that way. How else could we spend 20 grand and make way more than 45? Right? There are other ways to do it now, so we're taking different avenues. But my point is that you're going to be developing the same skills. So when we invite you to take on the ATM challenge or become an ICM and work with us and bring people to the events, it's going to start to show you where you need to develop in your skills, in your communication, in your time management, in your leadership, in your ability to solve problems and listen. All those skills are going to be developed so that when the real estate time comes and there's a lot more on the line, you're not making these mistakes, losing the opportunity, and it going to someone else. Okay, so MMA is money making activities. Our money making activities are find the people, tell the story, build for events, continuous follow up. The way you're going to do that constantly is by using questions to control the conversation. You're going to have to ask for the sale, ask for the order several times. I remember talking to Nate Lambert when he first got started, and he loves winning. He loves being able to have a predictable outcome, right? That's why he went on to get the PhD, because he knew that would increase his chance of winning in life. So he went after it. But he did not like being told no when he asked someone to buy. So he would spread it out. He would invite him to a house tour, and then an intensive, and then a super Saturday, and an epic and a casual. And 3 months, 4 months are going by before he asked someone to buy. Now he made friends; they were very friendly, but he would wait for 5 or 10 events to ask, and then they would say no. Why would they say no? Because they always do. They say no on the first time, and then on the second time, and if you think about your own experience, it took you several conversations before you said yes. Now, for me, I knew I was in within about a half an hour of being in the room. But in order for me to say yes, commit, find the money, took some time. So I showed Nate this whole thing about the 95.5 and the 595 and what we're going to do. And you know what? He immediately changed. He started asking for the order 7 times that night. First event, they come. You want to sign up? Are you sure? Are you sure? You should sign up. I really think you should sign up. It'd be a good time for you to sign up. Well, what if I could show you how to find the money? Would you sign up? What if it could be very little out of pocket on a monthly basis? Would you sign up? You want to sign up now? And he would ask and ask and ask. And then, well, as you saw, multiple top income earner year over year. Last year he got number 2. Mitch got number 1. He took his eyes off the prize. We had to tease him for that. But, competition, iron sharpens iron. So it's all good. But you got to ask multiple times. And one way to keep asking through rejection and keep smiling is by having the 4 core beliefs. Understanding that Renatus is the best income opportunity in the country. Everybody needs Renatus. We're doing them a favor, and it's their loss if they say no. With overlapping skills, guys, you're just going to get better and better by being committed to this process. It's exciting times. All right, let's open up the chat, see what we got going on here. GM. Yes. Generating money. Perfect. Oh, perfect. Same skills. Got it. Yep. Okay. Laura's got a fantastic question. Let's talk about this real quick. So she wants to avoid pressure, is what it sounds like. So one thing is, and you'll learn this as you go through the different trainings and especially at Super Saturdays and stuff like that. But this thing about pressure, a couple different ways we could go about it. But one thing I understand is that we need something that's called a reframe. A reframe is a miracle inside of our minds. I love it. Okay, a reframe is how people turn tragedy into triumph. It's how, we are, as humans, we are meaning making machines. We're just constantly making up meanings about stuff all the time. This means this means that. Someone looked at us sideways, we make a meaning about that. We had no idea they just got a booger in their eye. But we made up a meaning that they looked at us some way. Right? Or this outcome, that outcome, and we add a meaning to it. That meaning, if you're not doing it on purpose, could be dangerous. So the reframe is making up a new meaning to the situation. Okay? So this idea of pressure, we need to reframe. Well, first thing is, I understand there's something called positive pressure. Positive pressure. Little stuff. Raising kids, eat your broccoli, positive pressure. Do the hard thing. Do the push-ups, right? Read the book, Positive Pressure. And then, of course, there's a whole saying of no pressure, no diamonds. Oh, Michael, you're really pressuring me into taking ATM. Yeah, you know why? Because no pressure, no diamonds. Oh. And in that moment, I've reframed the experience they have with me about me telling them to do something. And yeah, we're going to help you get diamonds, man. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of pressure here. Okay. So the reframe is what's going to be huge. Let's see. So out of respect, I stay put. See, that's the other part is out of respect, I pressure. Out of respect for you, I know something. I've experienced something. I have seen something. And so out of respect, I got to show you and help you get over your fear about this. So that's another big one for me is, I mean, if they're adamant, Michael, I'm never going to do real estate. Get out of my face or I'm never talking to you ever again. If someone said it like that, then okay, sure. But guess what? Out of the 18,000 conversations I've had, no one's going to do that. They might just stop answering the phone, which is totally fine. It sucks for them, right? Coming back to number 4, it's their loss if they say no. But pressure, if we want to keep using the word, okay, no pressure, no diamonds, there's positive pressure. Even when we're going out and, we're working out in the field, we're planting a crop, we're moving some animals around, there's positive pressure around the environment. If I didn't have pressure on the environment, it would just be random bushes and trees that no one could eat from. So there's positive pressure in cultivation as well. The other part that I think has really helped me along the way is when they say no, I smile. Hey, you should really come to this workshop. It's going to be great. You're going to learn a ton. I'll introduce you to a few people that are going to blow your mind. You should meet this lady. Her name is Maylee. She's done 200 deals in the last 8 years. It's been incredible watching the transformation. You should come check it out. No? Wow. Okay. And when you have that positive reaction to a negative answer, something switches in their brain and they go, uh-oh. Normally, when I reject someone, they get mad, they get upset, or they double down. Why did this person just say okay with a smile? Maybe I'm missing something, and it keeps their ears open. Okay. And then, of course, the other part that helps restructure this and reframe it is we're doing them a favor. Look, you might be doing fine right now, but from the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Labor in this country, they have looked and measured what happens over decades with tens of millions of people. And what they found is 19 out of 20 are broke. Now, you might not realize it now, but your money is being devalued so fast. The only way to keep up is to store it in cash flow producing assets. Okay. There is no way. Let me pull up my fancy little website I'm working on right now. There's no way your earning dollars are going to keep up. Okay. You're hosed without this. I'm going to switch over to the website and then we're going to wrap it up on this point here. Hopefully I have helped you with the reframe, but I promise when you have this perspective of positive pressure, this to me is an emergency. Okay, folks, it's an emergency. The dollar has been devalued 97% in the last 110 years. And also in that same amount of time, real estate has grown 13,000%. Okay, both of these I have linked to the Census Bureau and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So, calm down. Here we go. So if you want to link it and you can see where these are coming from, I just pulled it straight from the data from the Gov. Oh, nice. And then the CPI inflation calculator. You can punch in the dollars and you'll see what happens. And after punching in the dollars, this is what's happened. So when I'm telling people, like, look, I don't care if you do real estate. Honestly, I'm doing real estate because I'm not a moron. Depends on your friends and your audience how you might phrase that. But I'm doing real estate because the writing's on the wall. They are printing more money. They just 2 days ago, they just had a cabinet meeting. Okay. The Treasury Secretary, pop quiz. Who's the Treasury Secretary for the next 4 years? He just announced, hey, we just raised the debt ceiling and we raised it so much we don't have to talk about it for 2 more years. He's bragging about it. Now, I think he's a smart man. I don't think that this is necessarily the best thing for us, but I get why he's doing it. There's a long-term 20-year play. He's laid it out in other interviews. But folks, they are printing more money. When they print more money, okay, if I have this dollar, this $10 here, and then I go to a printer and I print another $10, this just got devalued. It's called counterfeiting. But because the government gets to do it, it's called inflation. But it's still a crime. So when I'm telling people get into real estate, it's not just so that I can make a few dollars off of selling a package. It's literally a way to prevent poverty. And we're going to do it through Renatus because they're the most effective, best value, best community, best education, best coaches, best ongoing software, support, team, network, the best, 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 best. That's why we're doing it with Renatus. But we're doing real estate so that we're not poor. And if you've watched people work their butt off for 10 or 20 years in a career just to be laid off, I mean, if you hear Pete Smalley's story, that guy was a tried and true dedicated Boilermaker, working around the country, around the clock in the craziest conditions. And in year 19, they fired him or laid him off so that at year 20, they didn't have to pay him a lifetime pension. What a ripoff. What a scam. That guy nearly died to work for this company just to be shoved out at the last minute and lose benefits. That happens way more than you think because people don't like to talk about it because it's insulting, it's embarrassing. And but Pete shares that in part of his story, and he says, this is why I'm doing real estate. This is why I turn the TV off and I turn my classes on. This is why I get away from the news and absorb good content that's going to feed my noggin so that I can go out there and do something with it. So when I'm out there selling and I'm talking to people, it depends. I don't hit them right out the gate with stats like this. But if they keep saying no, and I care about them, and I really want them to succeed, I'm going to say, hey, if you have $100 now, you have three. It's 97% devaluation. It is insane what they're doing. They're calling it quantitative easing, quantitative tightening. They're calling it all kinds of different things, but really it's money printing, which is legal counterfeiting, which is a confiscation of your wealth. So that's why real estate. Any questions?
Michael?
Yeah.
Oh, so over the weekend, Saturday, we had a women's entrepreneurial event. And I did a speech on cash flow. So,
Way cool.
and so I just wanted to just kind of point out to some of the women, just a real quick statistics. An increase of women-owned businesses happened during the COVID-19 pandemic and are still increasing. So let's go women. That gives us that opportunity to build more for ourselves.
Yeah, the opportunity's out there, the support is out there. All the red tape has been cut, so to speak. It's now just a matter of taking charge with a clear vision. Carla, go ahead.
Quick question, more of a tactical question. You expressed, oh, when someone says no to your offer, you smile. Now that works well in person and via Zoom. So on the phone, how do you communicate that? Because they're not
Well,
going to see your smile. I mean, it might come through, but just say okay.
yeah, I mean, when smiling, it's going to change the tone of your voice for sure. So one of the tactics I did for a while, which I now have the habit of, so I don't need the tactic, but if I would have a mirror on the wall so I could remind myself to smile, and I would just, are you smiling while you're talking? The other thing is, it's even in the text, I use a lot of emojis. I use a lot of emojis. I use the GIFs all the time. Just a little hint of sass and sarcasm goes a long way. And
But what I'm taking away is the default may be when someone says no, you pile on and have another offer, like, oh, you really, really need to. You're like, okay. And one of Richard Stock's thing from ATM is, oh, that's perfectly fine. If you don't want to do it, it's perfectly fine with me. You're not hurting me, but it's okay. Right.
mhm.
So I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, then find a funny GIF or a little animation that's like someone walking off a cliff or someone banging their head against a wall. Just, oh, gotcha, okay, and then send them something goofy. Of course, don't leave them in the mess. Point out the mess, guys. This is a mess, right? Maybe the image of holes in a bucket and stuff is just falling out. Okay, but then the solution, real estate. And then one of my favorite animation little gifs is there's like 20 dudes on a house, and it's this like time lapse in 5 seconds. A house is built just from the ground up, frame, roofing, exterior, done, house. And it's just they can just sit at it and just look at it, just this house just being built over and over. I send that one a lot. Gifs, emojis, and a little bit of insistence on doing the good thing.
That's helpful. And I'm learning that more, to be comfortable with people. If I've done what I'm supposed to do in terms of making the offer and they don't choose to do it at this time, you continuously follow up, but that's it. It's not, move on, right?
Yep.
So thank you.
Yep, exactly. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this one up. For those of you who came a little bit late, I announced that we're going to be doing, Cosimo and I are going to be doing a learning blocks workshop this Wednesday. It's going to help you read faster, retain more, memorize, take notes better, just extract more from the content. We're doing a workshop. You do need to be registered for that. I'll be making a post in the Facebook group about it. But if you're interested in coming, we're going to be talking about the Genius program, how to use these techniques to learn faster, get more out of what you're already working on, and improve your efficiency. That'll be this Wednesday. Then, of course, we got the Thursday events. We got some weekend stuff coming up. Check the calendar, stay plugged in, review this recording. We'll get it uploaded to the team channel, and go fight win. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye.